Well, how fantastic is this? The worldwide launch for the new Land Rover Discovery Sport in Iceland. What a fantastic place to showcase the abilities of this vehicle and also experience it with wide open roads and really nobody around. It's not that cold here actually. You would think in January it would be much colder than it is. It's right around the freezing mark and there's lots of ice around. We're even going to get a chance to drive it through some riverbeds and experience what this new Land Rover has to offer. So what is the Discovery Sport? For those that are not aware, Discovery has been out of the marketplace for about 10 years. That was the big body-on-frame truck which went on to become the LR3 and the LR4. Well, now they're bringing back the Discovery nameplate in a smaller crossover vehicle. It's really going to compete in the heart of the Canadian marketplace against vehicles like the Q5 from Audi, the X3 from BMW. But this vehicle's different. It's bigger than a lot of its competitors. You take that Evoque platform that they use for Range Rover, you stretch the wheelbase by 80 millimeters or 8 centimeters, and it makes it a bigger platform to showcase a bigger interior and the ability to have 2 extra seats behind the second row. They call it a 5+2. So there is really no other premium offering in the marketplace, in the compact SUV marketplace, that has the ability to take up to 7 passengers. And this new Land Rover Discovery Sport definitely has that ability. It's got a new interior. It has all kinds of advanced electronics to get this SUV across all different kinds of landscape. And that's why we're in Iceland to check it out.
The Discovery Sport really has a fairly broad target in mind. First and foremost, we're really looking to expand to new segments, younger buyer group at price points significantly below most of the current Land Rover range. Some of the key reasons that we really are focused on the Discovery Sport over some of those competitive vehicles, really first and foremost comes down to the Land Rover advantage as far as its breadth of capability. So whether it's cruising down the highway, getting up to 28 miles per gallon, or being able to ford streams up to 24 inches deep, it really is kind of one of that focus as far as being able to service everything that you need a vehicle to do day to day. But then also if you want to do any kind of off-roading or even just have that one of the safest vehicles possible in inclement weather, it's really intended to deliver it all. Terrain response, it's really focused on tailoring the vehicle and its driving modes to the type of surfaces that you're on. So from normal on-road driving and dynamic driving to different modes like the gravel, grass, and snow, which really enhances the overall traction control system, all-wheel drive system to get that ultimate traction, and then even more severe off-roading with something like the mud and rut modes that help to ensure that the vehicle is always performing at its best.
So this vehicle is based on the same platform as the Range Rover Evoque, but because they stretched the wheelbase, there's more space in the back seat. On the very first day we were here in Iceland, we had a chance to do some sightseeing. There was 4 people in this product driving for about 4 hours and having a chance to sit in each seat, driving passenger in the back seat. The back seat really is quite roomy. They've done a fantastic job there of making this comfortable. The seats are supportive and everything's nicely finished. Now, those of you who have watched some of my Range Rover reviews over the last little while have complained that even though it's a premium product, some of the materials on the inside really aren't that premium. But you have to remember, this is a Land Rover. It's more about the utility and the functionality of the vehicle, and it is a premium product, and it competes at a price point which is much less than a Range Rover. And for the price point, they've done a nice job. But what's really important is the head unit they're using for the infotainment system. Now, Land Rover and Jaguar head units have been really bad for being slow and boggy, and this is now the future. This is the way they're going, and thank goodness it couldn't come fast enough. So good news for anybody that's looking at a Range Rover, a Land Rover, or even a Jaguar in the years to come. There is a new head unit, and it's available for the first time in the Discovery Sport. So the interior is polished and upscale, not to the level you would get with a Range Rover or the price point of a Range Rover, but that's fine. It's not competing in that marketplace. So on the inside, I think they've done a good job. But it's on the road or off the road where this vehicle shines. Now, what you have with this Land Rover are terrain settings, and you can adjust basically the parameters of all of the electronic systems that are working. So you've got the all-wheel drive system, you've got the stability control, the traction control, and it limits the amount of slip and grip that you can have depending on the terrain. So what we've been using most of the time here is one that's good for gravel and snow and grass, and we're just basically leaving it in that. And it's been fantastic driving it in the snow, and because we have studded tires here for Iceland, which has got a lot of ice, is optimal traction. Now, most people are not going to have studded tires, but it's certainly going to help in situations where you're driving in snow. And now, most Canadians are going to buy this vehicle because of its snow capability. Now, driving this is the same engine that's used in the Evoque. It's the turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 240 horsepower, and the power goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. That's new for the Evoque, and it's certainly new for this Land Rover product. And this is the one part of the vehicle that impresses me to no end. It is so smooth and effortless, and 9 gears, you would think that the vehicle's always searching for the right gear, but it's not. You don't even notice that it has 9 gears, and it really is quite effortless. On top of that, the other thing you notice, because this is a premium product, is how much quieter this is, because we're driving, I'm actually right now on gravel roads, or really not gravel, but crushed lava here in Iceland, and we're on studded tires, and the noise level is actually really quite acceptable. Plus, you've got the longer wheelbase. It gives you a quite supple and relaxed ride. So on the luxury end, I think they've got it nailed. And with the ability of this vehicle to do all kinds of fabulous things off-road, that's going to appeal to a pretty wide market. Now, one of the coolest things we got to do was actually drive off ice into a river, drive across the river, and scamper up the other side onto an ice-covered riverbank, and it did it all absolutely fabulously. Now, another thing Land Rover did to make this vehicle more useful is they changed the independent rear suspension to a more compact design. And because they did that, they were able to put in a 3rd row of optional seats. They call this vehicle, as I mentioned, a 5+2, seating for 5 with 2 little jump seats in the back for small children. And they're not making any bones about this. These are seats for small kids to use and maybe adults in a pinch for a short period of time. But there is nothing else in the marketplace that has that 5+2 configuration, certainly not in the premium space. In the non-premium space, you've got a vehicle like the Mitsubishi Outlander, but there's nothing in the small luxury SUV space that has that extra space.